named Northwest Arkansas Station.
No.
Did everybody be able to get the video okay downloaded?
Yeah.
'Cause we had one station that she said she couldn't download it.
Yeah, yeah, I can do that.
Sure the frequencies are.
Am I good right here? Hey everybody, mic check,
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Hello, hello.
Good.
Mic check, mic check, mic
Good,
check.
good enough.
Awesome. I have no problem.
The one thing I need batteries and I have batteries in my pocket. For the win.
I know, I always grab a pack every time I run a jig, I'm so petrified.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Cindy, how are you?
Wow, it's warm in here.
You're so quiet.
Who's doing a stream? Hi, hello.
Hello.
Last time I saw you, we were in the morgue.
I don't know.
And it's starting tonight, isn't it? We've got one
The
tonight.
first one, yeah.
This is,
I'm
it
in
smells
the-
better in here, I think.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hey,
How are you?
how are
Pretty
you? How are you?
Good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Good grief. How are you,
Hey,
ma'am?
Caroline, good to see
Mike,
you.
yeah, good to see you guys. This looks serious.
Put my water down here.
Did you know you're about to be deposed? I mean, let's go.
You know, it's funny you say that because I've had to do that recently, and I'd rather do this any day.
You can probably put it inside
Okay.
pocket or.
Okay. Tell you what. Is that?
Yeah, just reclip that. So it doesn't stick out. That work for you?
That's perfect.
This is like. All right.
about the incident that happened? Was it back in July, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. I believe the end of July. Yep.
So can you explain to us, what happened that day?
Sure. So the first thing that, need to get out there is kind of the context on what happened and why the trooper took the actions that she did. So Trooper Alex Duncan was just on regular patrol. She's driving a Mark State Police car, and the suspect passed her at 114 miles per hour. That, as a police officer, a state trooper, that obviously raises red flags. To say that's not normal is an understatement. I mean, just think about your daily lives. You typically don't pass a Mark State Police car driving at 30 miles, over the speed limit. So that immediately raised some red flags for the trooper, and rightfully so. As she activated her emergency equipment, she attempted a traffic stop. He slowed down a little bit, but not much, and began to change traffic lanes, and finally moved over to the shoulder of the road, but continued to drive down the shoulder at about 65 miles per hour for a fairly long time. In training and just in life experiences of doing the job, that sets off a lot of alarms, and you get very concerned by that. And typically one or two things is happening. Either that person is trying to retrieve a weapon, that person is trying to discard evidence, or that person is impaired. And in this situation, of course, we know now that that person was over twice the legal limit of blood alcohol and had other intoxicating substances in his blood system or in his bloodstream. So it ended up being the latter. Having said that, if you went back and you looked at the last 50 traffic stops that Alex had made, you would see that she would walk up on the passenger side of the suspect vehicle or the violators vehicle. She would identify her agency, and explain why that person was stopped. In this situation, obviously, she did not do that because of all the red flags. This was not a normal circumstance. So she immediately went to the driver's door in an attempt to get that person under control to where it did not go mobile. Y'all have heard me say many times that our primary concern is the innocent citizens of Arkansas, period. In that situation, she wanted that to remain right there. She didn't want it turned into a vehicle pursuit or anything else. She wanted the situation to be resolved right there. So Alex opened the door. As soon as she made contact with the suspect, she stated that he had reached and grabbed the gear shift. And as she perceived that he was going to try to put it in drive and flee, so she reached in, she pushed the vehicle back in park or secured it in park, and immediately went hands-on with him. I don't recall off the top of my head if she deployed her taser then or if it was before or after, but if you see in the video, she reaches in, she grabs the keys out of the ignition, and she throws them over the top of the car. Once again, her primary concern is for this to stay there and not get mobile. So at that point, she's now wrestling with the suspect, trying to get him out of the car and gain compliance. Something else that's important to note, that it's common sense to watch it, but you forget sometimes that all of this is taking place within a foot of the white line of the interstate and traffic that's going 75 miles per hour. So as they're wrestling on the side of the interstate, they're within feet of traffic. Obviously, it's a very significant concern for us. I said before, when I was a trooper working the highway, I was much more concerned about being run over on the interstate than I was about being shot or getting in a fist fight with a suspect or something like that. It's always in the back of your mind. So it's a very uncomfortable situation that Alex found herself in.
And one of the things that caught my eye was that a bystander actually came up to help the trooper.
Yeah, that is the incredible part of this story, and I really appreciate you guys bringing that up, because that's a story that needs to be told here. If you watch that video, Trooper Duncan, Alex Duncan, she wrestled with this suspect for about 4.5 minutes. That's an extremely long time. Even though Alex is tough as a boot heel, can't say enough about her. I've got so much respect for Alex and the job she does for us. But physics take over at some point, and Alex is, 5 foot nothing and weighs 100 nothing, and she's fighting a grown man, and so she was exhausted. I mean, at some point, physics takes over. So it's also important to note that we counted over 70 cars drove past and did not stop to render any type of aid. And they're not, I mean, they're absolutely not expected to. However, then out of nowhere, you have Kylie shows up, who is also 5 foot nothing, weighs 100 nothing, and jumps on this guy's back and starts, trying to give assistance to our trooper. So it's really just remarkable. I mean, we consider Kylie to be a hero. I've had the opportunity to meet with her twice now, talked to her on the phone multiple times. Sweet as she can be, but just it's a fascinating story that Kylie was willing to put herself in harm's way and come to our trooper's aid when she did. You never know for sure how these things are going to turn out, but the suspect, had already disarmed the trooper of her taser. After he had her on the ground, he kicked her twice in the head. He was trying to disarm her of her weapon. So you never know what's going to happen. But so we couldn't be more thankful that Kylie showed up when she did and rendered aid to our trooper.
Why did Kylie do that? I'm sorry, that's my last question, I promise.
Well, first of all, we could tell you guys how to get in touch with Kylie. We've talked to her, and she's open to that idea. And I know she'd be happy to talk to you. But I asked that question, and I think in Kylie's words, she said that she drove by and she saw this man fighting with this female who was a trooper, but a female nonetheless. And in Kylie's words, she said, well, that's not okay. So she pulled over and got in the fight. So it's incredible. I mean, again, Kylie's a hero, regardless of, what anybody wants to think about the suspect, the trooper, or anything else. Kylie put herself in harm's way, and we couldn't be more thankful. She's absolutely a hero.
Kind of circling back, so it's not typical protocol for a trooper to just go up and open the door of the
No,
car?
it is
Okay.
not. No, ma'am.
And so in this instance, you feel justified though because you
Yes,
tell
ma'am.
them to do whatever it takes, or maybe not whatever it takes, but
Yes.
to do what they feel is right in the field.
Yes, our policy and state law, says that you can use the amount of force necessary to effect an arrest. In this situation, it absolutely wasn't normal. Her normal approach, or her approach to the stop and the suspect, was not normal. However, again, it's important to realize that that was dictated by the actions of the suspect, not the trooper. Again, you go back and you watch however many stops you want to watch from that trooper, and you're going to always see a normal passenger side approach, identifying herself, her agency, and the reason for the stop. She didn't do that this time because of all those things that if a layperson watches that, they may not realize. But for a police officer or a trooper that's done that job for any length of time and gone through the training, all of those red flags are waving. The fact that he passed a marked unit, the fact that he was so slow to stop, the fact that he hit the shoulder and continued to run down the shoulder. I can promise you, if I'd have been in Alex's situation, the alarm bells would have been going off, and I would have approached that situation the same way. So can't say enough of it. We support Alex 100%. We're very proud of her. She's an outstanding trooper, and as we sit here and talk, she's out there on the road working today. So very proud of her.
Yeah. She did fire her service weapon. She's been cleared by the Benton County prosecutor. But
Yes, ma'am.
it was close range. Is that typical, or is it just kind of maybe not typical, but thoughts on just it was close where she
Very
fired?
close, yeah. So honestly, divine intervention. If I were the suspect, I would be thinking God has a plan for my life, and He gave me a second chance. Alex was absolutely justified in doing what she did. She did what she was trained to do. He was trying to disarm her of her weapon. And there's some things you can't see on camera. But if you'll notice, there's a point where, she's able to break his hand loose from her weapon, and she tells Kylie to back up because she knew that if I can get my, the deadly force was at that point was authorized, then she knew that she was in trouble. Again, physics, she's so much smaller than the suspect. She got the suspect's hand off her weapon. She drew her weapon and fired. The suspect, flinched at the last moment, and God spared his life. So, but Alex was absolutely justified, and we're thankful that the prosecutor made that official today, and with the letter that, cleared her of any criminal wrongdoing.
Back in July, I know that there's a statement from the governor and you all just talking about The suspect, he is from Guatemala.
Right.
He's illegally here in the United States. What are
Right.
your thoughts on that currently as well?
You know, as far as we're concerned, it's just another crime. You know, we had been asked by another outlet, you know, why we made mention of the fact that he was an illegal immigrant, and it's the fact that it's a crime. If he, you know, had been wanted for federal charges or state charges out of Missouri, we would have mentioned that also. You know, this is not a political job. You know, our job is very simple. It's to protect the citizens of Arkansas and enforce the law. And that is a crime. He is here illegally, and so it was mentioned for that reason. You know, the governor's office has a communications team that is completely separate from ours. That is absolutely in their purview to mention those things and talk about those things. There was a statement made in our press release initially from the governor, who supports state police very much. I can tell you that I was notified after this incident that Alex had been involved in this, that she was injured slightly, and that this had resulted in a deadly force encounter. So it's typical protocol. I was notified of that. I called Alex immediately to check on her while she was still on the side of the road. And by protocol, I contacted the governor and explained to her what had happened. And she was furious, honestly. I mean, the thought of, you know, any citizen trying to harm our trooper, she took great exception to that. She loves the men and women of the state police. She's very supportive of our troopers, and she was very upset by that. So the governor also reached out to Alex, and she also reached out to Kylie, and has had the chance to meet Kylie since then. So again, you know, that's kind of background noise that he turned out to be an illegal alien. But as far as we're concerned, you know, that's really not our greatest concern on the incident.
What about an update on the condition of the suspect? I know you said Alex is back
Yes.
patrolling again, or what about the suspect?
Yeah. Again, the suspect is very lucky. He just received a grazing wound to the side of his head. He was taken to the hospital and cleared that night, transported to the county jail, and I believe he's still in the Benton County Jail today.
Is there anything you learned from this incident as far as in regard to training or policy?
You know, well, other than Arkansas women don't need to be messed with, I learned that. We saw two Arkansas girls that combined are not probably don't weigh as much as you do. You know, but two brave women that, you know, one that was doing the job she swore an oath to do, and the other one just being a good human and stopping and rendering aid. But no, honestly, there was no surprises. Alex is an outstanding trooper, and I have absolutely, you know, I was not surprised at all to see her take the actions that she did, to handle herself the way she did. I was surprised to see Kylie come into the scene. I think we all had the same reaction when we watched the video the first time, but no surprises.
How long has Alex been on the force?
She started in January of 21 with the state police, so in January it'll be 4 years.
I think I'm good. Anything you want to add? Anything we missed?
No, ma'am, I don't think so, unless Nick or Cindy have something.
Thank you.
This is the part when, after I leave, they start griping at me for all the things that I said or shouldn't have said or did say. Or... I appreciate you guys coming out.
Hey, thank you. We appreciate this a lot.